Alright, you guys, it's Geoffrey Howells Carpet Cleaning, and I got a pillar in my way. But anyways, we're out in Gladstone, Oregon today, Oak Grove to be exact. Let me go ahead and go inside. I just completed our pre-vacuum, and what that allows us to do, not only are we getting all the debris and nasties out of the carpet that we possibly can, sand, grit, gravel, all that good stuff. It also allows us to thoroughly examine the carpets. So I know that the other day there was a bit of questioning about red stain removal. And what I have here is my red one. And what red one is, it's a synthetic red dye remover. Synthetic as in dyes like food coloring and that sort of thing. So, well, I don't need it over here because I just treated it. But, with there being some red stuff here, this being the dining room area, obviously that's probably a drink or something. So, that got spilled. I'll put it on there. I'll check it later and see how it works. It's not textured or anything. Sometimes feeling texture kind of gives you a clue as to what it is. Because I don't feel any texture like might be associated with sugar, something sticky. That potentially could be makeup. I'm not positive, but if that's the case, we've got another product for that, but we'll cover that when we get to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab our red one, and I'm also going to grab our POG. This is POG, or it's Pig Out. It's Vacaway's version of POG, which I like just because I like that line of products. It's not the only Vacaway is not the only products I use. I kind of use the products that are most appropriate for the job. So it really comes down to what your local vendor carries, and then you just get accustomed to using that product line. So that's where I kind of fell under. I actually explored some products and actually requested that my vendor become a reseller of the products, and now he has pretty much the entire Vacaway line in his shop. And it's interesting because I think it's given him a boost because I think a lot of people like the Vacaway products. Anyways, now it was in here. There was some red. This is most likely going to be food dribbles. So what we do is we take our red one here, or our red one by Pro's Choice. You can see their famous logo down there in the corner. Just apply a little bit here. It doesn't need much. Just kind of get that area a little moist, and then we're just going to agitate a little bit with a towel. And we're going to go on our merry way and just let that sit in there. I had one other spot, not red, in the room over here. This, I'm not sure if that is, so you can see that, the yellow, I'm not sure if that is paint or what that is, but I got a little POG, again, our Pig Out, same thing as POG by Vacaway, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of that on a terry cloth towel. And I can't hold my phone and do that at the same time, so let me put this down and I'll show you what I'm doing. So really what you're doing is you're applying that POG to a terry cloth towel like that, and now what we're going to do is we're going to take the cloth and we're just going to put it on there. And some people will dump POG directly onto that spot. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. And just a second. And what I have is a tamping tool. So let's say that was ink down there. I don't know if that's going to work on here. I might need the POG. A lot of times you need to apply, some pressure to get that that paint or ink transfer up into the terry cloth towel, you can use a brush, a little tamping tool like this, and just kind of hit it, and basically all you're doing is you are doing a little bit of agitation, a little bit of pressure, and it's just going to absorb it into the towel. The other thing that you might possibly do is put something down here, lay, if it's a big spill, a big ink spot, you might just dump some of that on there to kind of saturate the area. Lay a couple fold a couple terry cloth towels up like this, lay them down there, and then get something heavy. I mean, ideally a paint can would be perfect, but who has cans of paint laying around, right? So, some books or something, and stack on top of there to apply weight. If you can get a good 50 pounds, that would be awesome. Just let it sit there while you're doing the rest of your work. And it will start pulling that up into the terry cloth towel. Sometimes it pulls everything out of the carpets, and other times it needs a few treatments, because it's almost like pulling layers off an onion at sometimes. So what I'm gonna do, I didn't really agitate it much, and it doesn't even look like it touched it, so I'm gonna have to put the phone down and play with this and see what we can actually get. I might need to use more like a citrus gel, which is a bit more, it sits on the surface of the carpeting. It's a bit more aggressive. It's pretty high residue, but we haven't cleaned the carpets yet. So when you use a citrus soy or a gel or something, you just want to make sure that the area is well rinsed afterwards, because it will leave tons of residue in the carpets. So what that is, that's dried paint. It's on there pretty good. So what we are going to do is that we're going to saturate the area with this, and we'll just lay a towel over it to kind of prevent drying, and just let it sit on there for a while. After I got some urine stains to treat, and then we'll come back and take a look to see how this is doing. Okay, so this is our P-Radicator product by Vacaway that we're going to use. I've had very good success with this. This is an 8-pound canister. It was probably about 40 bucks, but it makes about 16 gallons of pet urine remover treatment. Breaks down all the crystals and salts associated with urine. Has deodorizers, and it gets rid of odor. Pigs pee on the carpet, and I clean it out with this stuff, you guys. Literally, pet pigs. Like giant barnyard farm-sized pigs that people keep as pets. Anyways, so we made up a gallon to put it in here. Don't put a cap on it, because like I mentioned before, it does react, and it's probably going to start foaming and stuff once you make it. It's got about a 20-minute life. When you're mixing it up, you're supposed to put like 8 of those scoops in per gallon of water. Alright, you guys, fast forward, because I got rudely interrupted by those robocalls. Anyways, that's pretty much what happens. Might be better to make this in a 5-gallon bucket or something. I don't know. I just wanted to use it in the sprayer, so we're going to go ahead. There are a few areas, like right there being one, that we're just going to treat with this product. And of course that overflow is just going to help it even more. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that right now. And then we will move on with building the chemistry for our cleaning for today. So on urine stains, we just want to make sure that we thoroughly get that whole area. So that's pretty saturated right there. It's going to sit in there. It's going to eat away at all those salts. It's going to take that staining coloring away. In fact, it's almost instant at times. It pretty much deodorizes on contact, so we'll just let that sit in there while we work. Move on to the next one. Back to that nasty yellow spot we had here. I let our pog sit in there for about 10-15 minutes. I did have to use a little bit of agitation with the cloth. I just kind of kept rubbing it. There's still a little bit more to come out. I think some of it will just rinse out with the steam cleaning. But it is kind of important that you break down all of the paint that's attached to the fibers. And there's still, you look in there, there's still a little bit, but not very much. I might hit it up again after this stuff just kind of sits in there longer. You can see that the towel that I use is pretty dingy now, yellowish. I just kind of absorbed. It's probably like a water-based paint or something. Had a little paint here. I haven't even looked under it yet. But yeah, that didn't do much. This is a purple. I'll probably do the same application. I just put, you know, some pig out here and then just kind of rub it in, you know, rub it around. And that usually does a pretty good job. You want to be careful and test it, because what you don't want it to do is, like if you're doing with ink, rubbing it is just going to cause it to bleed all over the carpet. Paint generally doesn't do that because it's chemically, it's just different. Ink is different than paint, and it doesn't tend to bleed all over. Water-based paints sometimes do. Again, just take precautions, test it out, test the water, see what happens, and then go from there. Alright, Walter, this is kind of a little bit of the what, the how, and the why of the Backway products that I use. I went through the house that we're doing today, and I'll do something a little bit more formal later showing the other products. But in this house, I know that there's a dog and a cat, and I know that there's kids, and I know that they drink juice. They might spill some. I know that they have church meetings here. I know that there's some foot traffic, so I try to keep the pH, you know, fairly low. I believe that the peroxide is like 8.5. The grease hog is a high pH of like 12. So you're gonna need, you know, some rinsing if you use that. However, to keep that pH down, what I do is I do like half dose of the grease hog just to give it a little bit of a boost. So you get a little bit of the butyls and stuff for the grease and that, but you're also not shocking the product with a major, you know, acid rinse that people like to just drop dynamite on the carpets. So the peroxide is actually supposed to be mixed at 10 ounces per gallon of water, but since we're boosting it, I backed it down to 8 ounces per gallon of water. So since our jugs are actually 2 gallons each, I double that. I make 16 ounces of the peroxide, and then I go half dose on the grease hog, which is 2 ounces per gallon. So we do half that, and we do 1 ounce per gallon. And since we have a 2-gallon jug, we put 2 ounces in. So the total of our solution here is 18 ounces. 16 ounces being the peroxide and 2 ounces being the grease hog. And that gives you a pretty nice organic stain cleaner, along with a little bit of a boost for anything that comes in on your feet. However, if we were in an area that had some pretty bad traffic, we'd obviously boost up our grease hog a bit more, and we may or may not even use the peroxide. It just depends on your environment and what you are actually cleaning. Again, I'll explain the hot knife. In this case, we're not using hot knife because we're not dealing with food. We are dealing with organic animal. A couple of little spills, which the organic does help to take care of. And we're pretty much dealing with, you know, foot traffic, which grease hog is pretty good at that, so it gives us a little bit of a boost. The peroxide will take care of a lot of foot traffic as well. It's just not as great as without the boost from the grease hog. So we kind of get the best of both worlds. We got a little chemistry set going on here. So now we're going to take that pre-spray that we just made and we're going to go ahead and treat all the rooms. I would say that that 2-gallon container should be enough to complete this whole upstairs area. One thing that's nice about the peroxide-based stuff, peroxidant, or I should say peroxide, is not only a natural sanitizer, it also deodorizes too. So it's got deodorization properties built into the cleaning product. So when you step up and you use a little bit higher quality products, you guys, you're actually saving yourself money in the long run, because I've got my deodorizers built in, I've got stain removers and all kinds of stuff built in, I've got sanitizers built into it. If you're using like the DS2 product, which doesn't have the peroxide and some other stuff, you know, you kind of pick and choose the right tool for the job. That stuff actually has floral protectors in it, so you can do some pretty amazing stuff with this encapsulation solution. In fact, nowadays the chemistry is so good on it, you can just sub encapsulation solution for your hot water extraction pre-sprays in most cases. It's 12 is about the highest pH I've seen for encapsulation. I'm sure you might be able to find more somewhere if you're looking around. Personally, I don't like high pH, and the reason I don't like high pH is because it tends to do other things to the carpets as well, such as stripping off natural carpet protection. I mean, it just peels it right off. I think after you get above 10, it just strips it off. So be careful with that. I mean, I don't really see a problem using it on older carpets, because they probably have them, they don't have any carpet protection on them anyways. However, if you do use a high pH, I would suggest trying to sell your carpet protector and let the customer know, hey, I gotta use a high pH on these carpets and it's stripping the protection right off your carpets, and unless I protect them again, they're going to be more vulnerable to staining. You know, a lot of times, you know, I don't like getting caught in a bait and switch. And I don't know if that's a bait and switch tactic or not, but at least it's something to bring to their attention while you're walking through the house, and at least bring that up to their attention, just so it doesn't look like you're coming back at the after fact trying to make another upsell or something. So anyways, we got the 4 bedrooms. And we pre-treated all of our little nasty spots. I mean, you can't even see the urine spot in there right now. So this stuff, that P-Radicator, pretty much does exactly as the name would suggest. It just eradicates the stain and gives it a 1-2 punch and gets it out of there. So, pre-spray, I'm going to agitate with our CRB, and then I'm going to go back through and do our steam cleaning. So this is a pet premium package, you guys. This is the whole deal. So we're gonna groom any hair out that we can possibly find. Again, carpeting is extremely deceiving. I have no idea if there's hair up here or how much hair there is. There's gonna be some, no doubt, just because of the nature of pets, but we'll get to it as we go along. Right, you guys, I got our CRB all set up and ready to go. Pre-sprayed. Some of you guys are asking, okay, do I CRB before pre-spray, after pre-spray? What do I do? I tend to do it after pre-spray, because what you're doing is you're getting your pre-spray liquid on the carpet, and it's kind of liquidating or lubricating it, so it cuts a lot of the harsh friction off between the brushes and the carpeting. That's the reason I do it. Some guys even say, I'm going to use this guy as a vacuum. Instead of vacuuming, I'm just going to run the CRB. You guys, it's not pulling the sand and grit and dust and all that stuff out of the carpeting. All it's doing is pulling hair and fuzz and stuff off the carpets. So, anyways, that's my opinion. I try to be as gentle on the carpeting as possible. I try to get as much debris out of the carpeting as possible. Many times I'm pulling out entire stuffed Kirby bags of debris out of the carpeting, which otherwise would just damage the carpets. And if you think you're just going to get away with a CRB, the carpets are still going to get damaged. So you're not prolonging the life of anything by doing that. You're just making the carpets look cute. And personally for me, you know, probably gonna have to ask Nick what his opinion is on these sort of carpets for repairs. I don't have a whole lot of experience doing any repairs, but to me, that looks like it can just be stretched over, possibly. That can be stretched over. That should probably be cut away some more and patched with a piece. And I would say this should probably be cut away and patched with a piece in there. But I honestly don't know. So, Nick, if you're watching this, give me your opinion, please, because you're the carpet repair expert. So, anyways, back to the CRB. Yeah, I do this as a hair removal and agitation only. I don't do it as a vacuum. I know that it pulls a bunch of gunk out of the carpeting, but that's more like a bonus. That's not in place of vacuuming. So here we go. When it comes to CRB and area rugs, this is an area rug I would CRB because it's heavy, it has low fiber. We went ahead and put our Proxylin on it because it is fiber safe, wool, cotton, all that good stuff. Area rug number 2, Proxylent. It's a synthetic polyester blend. Worked just fine. Get it all cleaned up. It'll look beautiful. Again, you know, the main reason, you know, we're using the CRB on this is just to get up animal hair. Really any spots or stains on it, but we are getting, like I said, the animal hair and any other, if there were any spills, the organic nature of the peroxide will go ahead and obliterate and neutralize any pH differences in the area rug. Alright, I got a tip for you guys. I got these furniture movers. They work awesome. They do really good. That huge behemoth table we got back here, extremely heavy. But with those sliders on there that I got down there, I can effortlessly push it around. But what I do is I pick up these guys. You pick them up at Home Depot. A few packs of them at a time, actually. And when I come into a home, I leave just, you know, like right there. Like you see a package of them sitting there so that the, you know, if the customer sees them, like, oh, you know, maybe I need some of those. And then I sell them at double price. So, like $1 a slider or something like that. You know, and, it's easier to put stuff in the way that the customer might be interested in for an upsell than it is to constantly be hitting them up for carpet protection and other carpet upgrades. Oh, do you want the couch clean? Oh, do you want the area rugs clean? Area rugs I usually will point out now so they'll want to be cleaned because those are extremely easy to do, especially like these big rugs here. The one I've got rolled up and put on the couch. Just to put them down, just make sure they were vacuumed real good. Put the peroxide down or your pre-spray solution that you're using. Make sure, you know, it's safe for the fabric that it's made out of. And then I just went ahead and went over the CRB. I mean, they're heavy enough that they didn't get eaten up or at all in our brushes. So that's one thing I always do is just make sure before we use our CRB, is the area rug capable of being CRB'd? If not, I have to use like a hand brush and just brush them by hand. And that does just as well. Or, once we fire up our truck, just quickly steam them. But right now, what we're going to do, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take off the back reservoir container. You see all that nasty hair and everything? That was in the carpets. Yeah, that is pretty gross. Now, also, it's probably all matted up in the brushes. But I'll get that. That will be another task in its own. You can see this one isn't quite as nasty, but it is pretty gross as well. Now, if we lay this guy over on its side, what I'll do is if I run my finger up like this, you can see all that hair, and then I can do the other side. There's just as much hair. Plus, I'm going to roll our brushes around, and there's all kinds of other hair that is going to come out with it as well, like all that. I'll probably take it outside, maybe use some compressed air and blow it off, or just use a water hose and hose it off down there. I can take the brushes off and give them a good rinse, but I don't think it really needs to be taken off. I think a good hosing will take care of it this time around. So when you got animals, CRB is a machine to get that fur out of the carpeting. Doesn't get dirt and grit and sand out of the carpeting. So it's just another tool to help you perform your level of clean. So you go from a standard steam cleaning to a deluxe clean with your CRB. And yes, they are two different levels of clean, and they should be priced accordingly. Hey guys, we did a premium quality job here. Treated all the urine, all the spots, everything came out nicely. There was a huge vomit or urine or something here, but that's gone. So take a quick walk through. I just want to hit up some red spots that are up here, but came down the stairs, got all the bedrooms thoroughly extracted and brushed. Alrighty, man. So in this bedroom we got a few little red spots. Most of them came out perfect. I mean, with the peroxide and the pre-treatment that we did with the red one. So there's no guarantee that they're going to come out 100%, but I think they probably will.